In this edition of AVTN News 8,
through the years, it's kind of been passed down, a tradition of excellence, and nobody wants to kind of let up on that. And
2 school groups are state-bound and a winning streak continues for the 22nd consecutive year. Later, details on district groups with a positive message, and later a look at sports and weather. All ahead on this edition of AVTN News 8. Hello, and welcome to this edition of AVTN News 8. I'm Spenser Rothman.
And I'm Makenzie Homan. Our top story this edition highlights a winning streak that now stands at 22 consecutive state invitations for one district group. While many athletic state tournaments have been ongoing, one state championship event is just about to get underway. Earlier this month, the Northeast Iowa Band District held their district-level contest, hosted again for the 3rd consecutive year at Independence. This year saw 13 schools plus our very own high school jazz ensemble and orchestra hosted at the contest held in the junior-senior high auditorium. A total of 17 different performance groups, several hundred parents and friends from other towns converged on the building throughout the day's events. For this contest, the top 2 bands automatically qualify for the state championship coming up in April. Lower-placing bands can qualify, though possibly for a wild card selection to the state competition. This year, the Independence Jazz Orchestra top honors, winning first place and an automatic entrance to the state contest, followed by Waverly Shellrock Jazz 1 in second. This continues a streak for Independence that is well over a decade long under director Mr. Lang.
well, it's really amazing that we've done it 22 years in a row, because there are a number of the schools in our district that haven't ever gone. So, there were probably 17 bands in our class at our districts here, and probably out of all those bands, maybe 4 have at one time or another made it to the Iowa Jazz Championship. So it's pretty cool that we've done it 22 years in a row.
Not only did the Jazz Orchestra make it to the state level, the Independence Jazz Ensemble placed 5th overall. But, combined with previous contest results, the ensemble was selected as one of 3 statewide wildcard bands to make it into the pool of top 16 bands in the state. Both bands will travel to Des Moines April 5th for a chance at a state title.
But it happens pretty rarely. I think there's only been maybe 2 or 3 different schools in the history of the Jazz Championships that have had more than one band go to Jazz Championships, and we've done it. I'm not really exactly sure how many times, maybe 5 to 8 times in the 22 years that we've been going to state. So, and it's just pretty cool to have two bands from the same school going. It's kind of like having your JV and your varsity beating all the other varsity schools and doing well. And 2 years ago, when the Jazz Ensemble made it, they actually were 6th place in the whole state of Iowa. So it's pretty incredible. They'll be performing during the day competition. The 15 bands that'll be competing, they'll be competing starting at 8 o'clock in the morning and until 4:15 in the afternoon. And our bands perform. The Jazz Ensemble performs at 11:30 a.m. and the Jazz Orchestra performs at 3:45, and that's held at the Event Center, the Iowa Event Center in downtown Des Moines. And then the awards ceremony happens around 5:30, and the top 2 bands from each class, 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A, get to advance on to the finals, and they battle it out in the evening at the Civic Center stage in downtown Des Moines to crown the champions.
Recently, students at the high school level enjoyed a Saturday evening of fun with the high school winter dance held at the Henderson Event Center in Independence. The event is a student favorite, having been a part of school traditions for several decades now. Not much has changed over this course of time, with students enjoying a night in formal attire with friends having a great time together. And with winter dance now behind us, planning committees now look ahead to the end of April when the 2016 high school prom will be held.
For the 2016-2017 school year, some changes will be taking place with the district staff. New for next year, the Independence Community School District will be partnering with the state to offer a grant program called the Teacher Leadership and Compensation Program, or TLC for short. The goals as set by the State Education Department are to further provide Iowa students with a quality education by not only improving the content of what students learn, but to improve the instruction quality by further supporting and guiding current teachers. For Independence, this means that each district building will have a designated current experienced teacher dedicated to assisting and working with current staff to further improve teaching strategies and improve outcomes for students. While this means some staff will be stepping out of their current roles, new staff will be added to fill these vacancies while not coming at a cost to the district. These new TLC positions will be paid for by the grant program currently being funded by the State Education Department. Though this winter the program was initiated and staff were interviewed and selected for these positions, staff members selected for the TLC program include Mrs. Boniface at East Elementary, Ms. Reedy at West Elementary, and Mr. Doyle at the Junior High School. A fourth position is also being created thanks to the TLC program, which will be for the entire K-12 program. This fourth position will be filled by Mrs. Kurt.
One group that is involved in almost every event and activity that goes on within our school is the volunteer program, run by Val Maximovich. Volunteers have long been a large influence in our students' education and future endeavors by providing quality role models for students to look up to, and mirror image later in life. Currently, the district has volunteers working with students and activities at all grade levels. Some spend a half hour each week with a student one-on-one, while some others spend multiple full days a week working with groups.
So in order to do that, we have the paperwork that you'll find on the school webpage under volunteer information on the left side of the page. And it says volunteer information. If you click on that, all the paperwork necessary is there, as well as my contact information if you're interested in asking questions, and I'd be glad to answer them for you. As part of the school safety program, we want to be sure that everyone is kept safe, so all volunteers and mentors must go through an extensive paperwork process in order to volunteer. So, about the volunteers in the community, they can come into our school to volunteer for a variety of things. And that includes reading with students, helping with math, helping with classroom duties, putting up bulletin boards, and so forth.
I enjoyed being part of the volunteer program because I get to meet so many great people, and every time that I go, I learn so many new things, and I really get to experience lots of amazing opportunities that help my community and help me be a better person.
Also, as part of the volunteer program, as I mentioned, is we have the mentoring program. The mentoring program, as I said, has been part of the school for 20 years. And years more than that, it's now 23, excuse me. That program allows students to have mentors that come into their classroom or in the building during the school day. Again, that's a paperwork process, and we're always excited to have more mentors. Currently, we have over 50 mentor pairs that meet every week during the school day, during the school year. And under volunteer information on the webpage, you'll find Student Mentor Program. Feel free to look at that site and get more information or ask me for that information by email or phone.
High school students are welcome as well to volunteer with lower grade levels.
Junior High Large Group Festival was held earlier this month here in Independence. Rounding out the end of the contest were our district's very own 6th grade band and our junior high 7th and 8th grade band. The bands performed for a panel of judges who then rated each band. This year, both bands continued their run of success, earning Superior Plus ratings. Throughout the day, a total of 13 bands performed in the auditorium, including several bands from our area, including Jessup, Dunkerton, and Olwine. Congratulations to all of the students in these groups.
Volunteering in the community and school is a skill set the Independence School District is trying to further promote. Silver Cord started in Independence in 2012. In the 4 years that Silver Cord has been around, 13,300 hours have been volunteered by students as of this year. In order to receive a Silver Cord on their graduation day, a student must volunteer 200 hours over their high school career. Currently, 37% of enrolled students 9th through 12th grade participate in Silver Cord. Silver Cord benefits students because not only can they show that they volunteered when applying for colleges, college scholarships, and jobs, they also get the chance to explore career choices and become observant of volunteer needs in different areas of their life. Since this program allows students to get involved in volunteering and explore career choices, students can become proactive and hardworking, which benefits them as a whole and the communities in which they serve. To learn more about Silver Cord, visit the school district's website or contact Val Maximovich.
The curtain is just about ready to rise on the 2016 spring musical. Cast and crew have been working non-stop since the beginning of the year on this year's show called Anything Goes. The show is set on a cruise ship in the early 1900s as a trip from New York to London carries a cast of all walks of life, including the rich and the public enemy. This classic comedy is full of romance, witty humor, and scandal as casts try to figure out who each person really is. Anything Goes opens this Thursday, March 17th at 7:30 p.m. and runs through Saturday. Doors open at 7 p.m. each night. If you'd like tickets to Anything Goes, tickets are on sale now for pre-show order through the Junior-Senior High School main office.
Coming up after the break here on AVTN News 8, we'll bring you the latest updates on state education funding in a follow-up to our last episode, plus the latest race stats in the race for the White House. All after the break, you're watching AVTN News 8, all things Mustangs. Looking to learn more about what the Mustangs are up to? Tune in to AVTN, your official home for all things Mustangs. Here at AV Tech Network News, we pride ourselves in producing professional-looking newscasts filled with the positive events and projects ongoing within our district and honoring those who accomplish truly great things. Tune in online or through social media as we produce and share a newscast each month, updating you on the very latest with our school district on your home for all things Mustangs.
The Iowa government continues to be in the session for the 2016 legislative term. While other bills have passed and been voted on, one key piece of legislation still looms large over the state capitol. By Iowa law, elected officials are to pass a budget for education before all other bills are spending and considered. The deadline for this budget vote is set annually for mid-February. In our past episode, we brought you remarks from Superintendent Peterson, who expressed her frustrations over this issue. At that time, the budget was only a week late. As it stands now, the budget has yet to be voted on with no compromise or answer in sight. With no changes lately, the deal still stands deadlocked, with GOP members calling for an increase in state supplemental aid of 2%. The Democrats have called for 4%, and the governor has said he would like to see 2.4%. The ability of schools to plan for the next school year's budget and how it affects district staffing, district improvements, and union negotiations is all tied into the state's ability to compromise and call for a vote. Last year, you'll remember, a large majority of Iowa school districts were forced into cutting budgets, positions, and services as a result of a lackluster increase that failed to meet the February deadline and school district needs. This includes cuts and cost reductions here in Independence. The budget for our current school year, as a result, was not passed until late June of last year, nearly 4 months after it was legally bound to be set. Education officials continue to hold hope that state elected officials can reach an agreement much earlier this time around and avoid a repeat of last year's deadlock and political partnership.
This past weekend, the Sounds of One Area Metro visited the Junior-Senior High Auditorium. Orchestra Iowa, a Cedar Rapids-based group, performed a Sunday matinee for area classical music fans. Complete with a full ensemble of musicians, the orchestra performed a full set of music from classic, well-known pieces to more modern arrangements. The orchestra says its goal following the devastating 2008 floods is to take the orchestra to the next level and bring their passion for classical music to many of the great cities and theaters across Iowa. During the floods, the orchestra's home theater, the Paramount Theater in Cedar Rapids, was one of the many downtown iconic structures heavily affected by floodwaters, forcing the orchestra to find alternative locations to perform in an effort to keep the group vital. To catch a show, visit the orchestra's website at orchestraiowa.org.
Big changes are coming to one Buchanan County institution. Announced earlier this month, the Buchanan County Health Center will be moving ahead with a large expansion project that many have seen taking place recently. The project that was voted on by hospital trustees is planned to add an additional 74,000 square feet to the existing campus buildings. The expansion will feature 3 main phases, including expansions to the wellness and therapy centers, including renovations to the existing locker rooms and studios, while adding new rooms for speech and physical therapy. The second phase will include a major addition to the front of the current hospital entrance with the construction of a new 2-story medical office building housing specialty clinics, plus renovations to the kitchen and cafeteria. The third and final phase will include a remodel and expansion of the existing surgical center to allow for growth in existing procedures and new procedures. The third phase also will bring the creation of pre- and post-operative surgical rooms, bringing greater privacy and comfort to patients and their families. The project looks to take 27 months. To see renderings of the new design or learn more about the project, visit bchhealth.org.
Now, just 8 months away from the presidential election, the race for the White House is really heating up, and for some parties, becoming nearly a civil war over policies. On the Democratic side, both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are duking it out to reach the necessary 2,300 delegates. Currently, Clinton leads with the most state primary wins, now sitting at 1,223 delegates. But with many states left to go, this race is far from over and could be decided at the Democratic National Convention later this summer. On the Republican side, a war of words on policies and petty issues not relating to politics have really tossed the entire GOP into a civil war within the party ranks. The goal of the GOP now seems to be to stop Donald Trump from being declared the party nominee any way possible, even if it means losing the presidential election. The GOP has openly said in other national interviews that they would rather see a Democratic president over Donald Trump. Trump currently leads the GOP field with 459 of the 1,200 needed delegates to win a nomination outright. Senator Ted Cruz is right behind Trump, though, with a close 360. Marco Rubio and John Kasich both have less than 150 delegates and look to only stay in the race through their home state primaries. After Ohio and Florida, the GOP race could easily be down to 2 candidates. Next to vote on Super Tuesday 2 are Ohio, Florida, Illinois, Missouri, and North Carolina.
Coming up after the break, the highlights from the 2015-2016 winter sports season and a look into the beginning of the spring athletics season are up with your Mustang Nation Sports Report. But first, a quick look at weather.
Warm and sunny weather throughout much of the first half of the month has brought on spring fever. How long will it last, and is winter really done? We'll answer those questions with your AVTN Weather Vision 8 forecast after the break. You're watching AVTN News 8, all things Mustangs.
Have you had the opportunity to see or play in an athletic event at Lyle Limbaugh Field? How about visit or use the multi-purpose athletics facility at the field? Have you or someone you know had the chance to walk the American Trotter Trail on the district's campus? Chances are many of you have, but many of you may not know a group of volunteers comprising the Independence Mustang Foundation has helped pave the way for these great assets to our school district and community, literally, by also working on the Limbaugh Complex Paver Project. The Mustang Foundation continues to support district-wide projects including the Junior-Senior High School Grand Piano, new cameras and technology for staff, students, and AV Tech Club. Plus, the group is now working on a project called The Final Push, which will foster new field turf for outdoor events, a new district home for the school's tennis, softball, and baseball teams with venues on the district's unified campus. Learn how you can donate and support the Mustang Foundation's mission by visiting their website at www.indymustangfoundation.com. The Mustang Foundation, helping unite us all as the Mustangs. The Mustang Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Looking for a great way to support the Maroon and White? Consider sponsoring AVTN. AVTN is a year-round project for the Independence AV Tech Club, which provides video services to both arts and athletics. AVTN advertising is a fundraiser for the AV Tech Club, allowing students involved to become further hands-on with the latest technology and expand our services. Over the past year, grant money, donations, and advertising have allowed our group to upgrade our productions to full HD video, increase special effects at auditorium shows, and to bigger and more energetic services for athletics. AVTN is truly made possible with your support and is a great way to connect the school with our community. To learn more about AVTN sponsorships, contact Mr. McBride, executive producer of AVTN, at tmcbride@independence.k12.ia.us or by phone at 319-334-7400. AVTN, your source for all things Mustangs.
The weather conditions we've been experiencing have been anything but normal to date. Average highs this time of year should have been our high temps in the low to mid 40s and lows at night in the lower 20s. At times this month, northeast Iowa has been anywhere from 15 to as high as 30 degrees above average, though I don't think anyone will complain about that. On average, we should also expect between 1 to 2 inches of moisture. This past week we saw around 1/4 of an inch, which combined with the recent snowmelt puts Iowa right around average for moisture. Looking ahead at what we can expect for the rest of the month, the Climate Prediction Center still has us looking above normal for temperatures through the next week, along with near to slightly above normal precipitation. But don't think winter is fully over just yet. Long-range models are suggesting March could go out with a lion with slightly below normal temperatures and precipitation by the end of the month. Looking across the nation through early this week, we'll see temps holding nice and warm across the central part of the nation. Areas to our south in Texas could see temperatures as high as the 90s. Overnight lows will drop into the upper 40s here close to home, but just off to the west, we can see signs of cooler ridge of Canadian air coming south over the Rockies. By Tuesday, we'll continue to see daytime highs in the upper 50s and low 60s across much of Iowa, with that pool of colder air off out west. Looking at our Weather Vision 8 surface map, we'll keep our eye early this week on an area of low pressure developing over the Texas Panhandle that will strengthen and push northwest towards Iowa and Illinois. This will likely bring some more active weather with the better chances of rain through the earlier part of this week. By Tuesday, we'll see a cold front set up to our west along the area with the area of low pressure bringing chances of rain by Tuesday afternoon. By Wednesday and Thursday, the cold front pushes through. We'll see breezy conditions behind the front of the storm as the system pulls off to our north and east over the Great Lakes. High pressure from southern Canada will settle in over the Rockies, only helping to further cool our temperatures through the end of the month. Bringing our outlook closer to home for tonight, across northeast Iowa, we'll expect to see partly cloudy skies with lows area wide in the mid to upper 40s. 47 here in Independence, 45 to our north in Decorah, and slightly warmer to our south in Iowa City at 48. For your day tomorrow, we'll warm up back into the low 60s in advance of a storm system that will bring us rain and possibly a few storms by the afternoon. We'll see 61 in Independence, and to our west in the Waterloo-Cedar Falls metro, Decorah and Charles City should see temps slightly warmer around 62, as the rain should stay mainly over our southern counties. And by tomorrow night, rain will continue through about midnight with rain-cooled temps dropping to 42 in the Mississippi River Valley around Dubuque, as well as Cedar Rapids in Iowa City. Looking ahead to our AVTN Weather Vision 8 7-day forecast, we'll see temps above average through midweek with mainly cloudy skies. It'll be breezy by next week with northwest winds gusting at times around 20 to 30 miles per hour. We'll cool down closer to normal temps in the mid-40s by the end of the week before the sun returns by early next week with low temps in the low to mid-40s.
Thanks, Spencer. Coming up after the break, we'll recap the end of winter athletics for the Mustangs and look ahead to the preparations underway for spring sports with your Mustang Nation Sports Report. After the break, you're watching AVTN News 8, All Things Mustangs.
Arts, athletics, and academics. 3 A's that describe the Mustangs. With a rich history in all areas, the Mustangs strive to be the standard for excellence on all fronts. A school district second to none where students have numerous opportunities to achieve, excel, compete, and experience championship outcomes. The Independence Community School District will set you up for success during and after your career as a Mustang. Visit www.independence.k12.ia.us to learn more about how you can live the Mustang way and truly be second to none.
The Independence Wrestling Team has been a strong competitor historically and has gone to state duels now 3 consecutive years, placing 5th place this year. This year, 3 wrestlers competed and placed in their weight classes at the state individual meet. Jake Jewell placed 7th at 160 pounds, and Matt McMillan placed 7th as well at 195 pounds. Rounding out the 3 Mustang wrestlers was Nick Holt, who managed to wrestle his way into the state finals at the 170-pound. In the end, Nick placed 2nd place, capping off a phenomenal wrestling season for the 3 senior Mustangs. Changes have been announced for the upcoming football season. As part of a 2-year redistricting cycle, the Mustangs now know who they will face for district and non-district play. One key component is the removal of the 125-mile rule, limiting schools to travel no further than 125 miles for games. In the new district layout, the Mustangs will see several familiar opponents. However, the district is no easier. While losing West Delaware as a conference opponent, the Mustangs will keep the Battle of Highway 20 alive, facing West Delaware as a non-district opponent. As a result of some of the changes, the Mustangs will face off against powerhouse Cedar Rapids, Xavier, as well as South Tama and Benton Community.
The district is going to be different. I think what stands out to me the most is how competitive our schedule is going to be. 7 of the 9 teams that we play were in the playoffs last year. I think it's nice to get down and see a few teams. Obviously we have South Tama is in the district, Benton Community is in the district. They're both Walmart Conference West schools. Like us, we're familiar with them. We just haven't been familiar with them in the last few years of football. So I think it's nice to mix it up, and it's going to be pretty competitive. The challenge is going to be coming out ready to go every single week, remaining healthy, remaining focused, and taking care of business. And so it's going to be competitive, game in, game out, without any game, being an easy one. So we're looking to have people step up, like as we have in the past. Looking to have kids that come out and do things the right way. Looking to have kids that come out and work hard. Looking to have guys that have now been in the system for a whole year with a little more experience of how we do things. So, we're hoping that we're going to build on some success that our last few classes has had. But then, at the same time, we have, a new group that has a chance to kind of come in and make a name for themselves, and we're pretty excited about the work they're putting in right now.
The 2016 schedule looks to be just as exciting, though with the season opener scheduled to be at home against West Delaware, no further information has been released at this time, including any mention of which home game will be selected as homecoming for 2016. The Independence girls basketball team concluded their 2015-2016 season at Waverly Shell Rock, falling just short of a state tournament. This year's girls team improved from last year's record of 6-16 to 9-14 this year. Much of the added success this year can be attributed to the hard work of senior members and second-year head coach Mr. Albatrop. The season was even more a success as the team fought their way into sub-state postseason play with a home game against Waterloo East and finishing up on the road against Waverly Shell Rock, which ultimately ended the girls' season just short of state. The Mustangs look to return several key members to the 2016-2017 season. Track practices have already started up this spring, kicking off what will hopefully be a successful season for all of our runners, throwers, and jumpers. Their first meet of the season is Saturday, March 19th at Cornell College. It is the only indoor meet this season. Indy will be facing off against athletes from Benton Community, CPU, Clear Creek Amana, Marion, and others. The meet starts at 9 a.m. at Cornell College. Another running sport is starting practices early this month as well. Soccer is up and running, with their first practice taking place last week. The boys' varsity team will hit the field for their first game Friday, March 31st at Hudson. The boys' varsity team will be up against Hudson Postville and South Tama in the first jamboree of the season. The tennis season has officially started up as well, with practices after school so far. With the excitement of competing on the new tennis courts at home, some practices have been slow to get outside with early March snow. With snow now melted, tennis members are wasting no time getting back to the courts. The first meet of the season is April 4th against Maquoketa. If you or someone you know is interested in tennis, contact Coach Crawford here at the Junior-Senior High School. As we head to break, here's a look at some upcoming sports events. We'll be right back.
What does it mean to be maroon and white? What does it mean to be a Mustang? Pride, determination, and a unified support of all things Mustang. Support the 3 A's of Mustang excellence: arts, athletics, and academics. Success in all areas and a drive to be competitive is who we are. We are the Mustangs. Support the maroon and white in school and around town by showing your Mustang pride each and every day. This message is brought to you by AVTN and the Independence AV Tech Club.
Before we wrap up this edition of AVTN News 8, we'll take one final look at your Weather Vision 8 forecast.
We'll see rain and possibly a few thunderstorms across Iowa through Tuesday, windy and cloudy for midweek, and back to near normal temperatures as temps cool off into next week.
And with that, we thank you for tuning into this edition of AVTN News 8. AVTN is a production of the students here at the Independence Junior-Senior High School and AV Tech Club.
As always, we welcome your news submissions or suggestions to our email address, indyavtech@gmail.com.
This has been the AVTN News 8 episode for mid-March 2016. Thanks again for watching. For all of us with AVTN News 8, have a great day and an even better tomorrow.